Okay, so for this example, we're going to be covering on how we're going to be doing text field parsing. Okay, so this is a more complicated example because we're going to be doing more transformative steps using Power Query here to achieve our target state. So what we have here is we have a list of labels, right? So it's like product labels. So we have bubblegum, we have mint shampoo, right? We have honey. And then you can see here, there's some sort of product code that's in front. And then we have your product description, and then we have your product size over here. So for example, we have 4-pack, we have 300 milliliters, we have 300 ounces, etc. Right? Okay, so here's our goal. Our goal is to split the labels and have a table that has the product code, that has the item, like the item description, and we have the size as our last column. But there's another catch over here. Another catch is we want our size, right? There's going to be a space, additional space, right between the numerical value or the numerical size and the unit of measurement. So for example, we have 4-pack over here. It's going to be 4 space pack. And then 300 milliliters, we have 300 space ml, etc. Right? So aside from splitting our data to form this table, right, we're going to be doing another transformative step on our size as well. Okay, so let's go straight to Power Query. Let's select the table, go to data, and then select from table. Okay, now we have our data loaded here in our query editor window. So the first step right now is how do we get the code, the item, right, the description, and then the size. So what we can see here is just look for a pattern first. It's going to be the space, right? So we're going to be splitting this by spaces, right? But we're not going to be splitting by all of the spaces. And why do I say that? Because the bubblegum, for example, has a space in the middle. The mint shampoo has a space in the middle, right? Because if we do like splitting by spaces for all of them, then we're going to be having like additional columns because of the bubble gum or the mint shampoo or the shaving cream or the hand lotion. So we're going to be doing a different approach. So we're just going to be splitting first by the first space over here. Okay, so let's try that out. Let's go to split column by delimiter. Okay, so we have our space over here, and let's just use the leftmost delimiter, right? So we just want the first space. Okay, let's go okay. And now you have your code, right, isolated on this column. Okay, that's looking good. Let's go here. And now how do we split this together, the item and also the size? We can still use the space, but we're just going to be using the rightmost space, right, at the very end. So let's go again to split column by delimiter. Let's go for the space at the rightmost delimiter, right? So we're going to be splitting the item description and the size, and it's looking good at the moment. So we have here code, we have the item, right, and then we have the size, but we still have one last step. What we want to do with our size is to add a space somewhere in the middle over here, right between the number and the unit of measurement. So how can we do that? So first things first, we need to split the number and the unit of measurement. And if we look here, is there a pattern that we could use? And if we look here, we have PK, we have ML, we have OZ, ML, etc. And the pattern here is our size is always 2 characters long. So which means we can use that again, but this time we're going to be using split column by number of characters, because we can split this one by the last 2 characters, right, to get the unit of measurement. So let's type in 2 and as far right as possible, so which means we're just getting the last 2 characters of this column, which is the PK, which is the ML, right? So let's go okay, and you'll have the split now between your numeric measurement and the unit of measurement. Now, how do we combine these 2 together so that we can just insert a space right in between them? And to do that, let's go add column. This is kind of similar to the, you could think of it like a helper column that you do in Excel, right? When you create a new column and then you just concatenate or append different columns together. So this is what we're doing. Let's go to add custom column. Okay, so let's just move this down, and then let's just give this the name of size, and then the values that we want to combine together. So we have our units, right? The numeric measurement listed in labels 2.2.1. So let's just go insert. Okay, so I'll use the ampersand to concatenate or append the fields together, and then we want a space right in the middle. And I'll use the ampersand again and combine them with the unit of measurement, which is listed in labels 2.2.2. So let's select that. I'll go insert. Okay, looking good. And I'll click OK. Whoops, hold on. There's an error over here. So that naturally happens. Sometimes when we create specific steps, right, we encounter errors. But to be able to understand it better, just click on any specific error. And you could see here what the cause is. So you can see here we cannot apply operator ampersand to the types number and text. Okay, so what it's saying is we're trying to use the ampersand to combine a number or numeric value with a text value, right? Because the ampersand would only work for text values when you combine them together. So which means this is the part wherein I can show you a really cool feature of Power Query. So we have this step that we concatenated the two columns together and it resulted in an error, right? So for me to be able to fix this, which means that this column, I need to change the data type. This is treated as a number at the moment. I need to change this from a number to a text, right? So that when you add or concatenate the text and text together, then that would work. So the logical step, or the obvious step for me actually, is just to undo the add column and then change the type and then add the column again. But here's the cool thing with Power Query. There's no need for me to do that. What I need to do is I can still keep this step over here. So if I just go a step up, right, it's gonna be, you can see here the column disappeared because we move one step up. It's like we move one step backward in time before we added the column. And I can insert a new step or a new transformative step in here before we'll add the column. So here's what I'll do. I'll change the type now to text. And if we do that, Excel will be asking us, are you sure you want to insert the step, right? Because it's going to be affecting the future steps or the steps after that. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's what I want to happen. I'll go insert, right? Now they're both text. So we would expect the add custom column to work this time because we're appending or we're concatenating two text fields together. If you do that, boom, you can see that it has worked without any issues. Because what we see here is it's able to see that, oh, we're just appending two text fields together and it worked, right? And you can see here that if I go here to this step and check the settings, we still have our original formula in here and there's no need for us to redo this step, right? Because it was an error before, we just made some changes right like on the step right before this and it works perfectly fine. So this is the cool part with Power Query, where you can just go anywhere in your query, like anywhere somewhere in the middle, and then make changes to it, right? Just go to the settings and then just make your changes and it will still apply, like perform the remaining steps that you have defined already over here. That's really, really cool for me. Okay. So we have our clean data. It's looking good at the moment. So let's go back to home and then, oh, before we do that, let's delete the unneeded column. So I'll hold shift first. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Let's go right click, we have remove. And then before we save, right, let's change this first to the right names. And then we have the item. Okay, looking good. Oops, let's do that again. Okay. Let's go to item. There you go. So we have our final state. Once we're happy with it, let's go to home, close and load. Then we should be able to get our clean data now.